Henry says, we need a watch along and commentary. Dutch is best. And he has sent a video link. So give me 1 second. I'll cue it up and we'll watch it together. So here we go. We're going to skip the first few minutes. So Lawler's out here sort of challenging you. And then let's just have you come out and then we'll see what's going on.
Between Jerry the King Lawler and Dutch Mantell. Well, speaking of Lawler, here he comes out right now. We had some footage we wanted to talk to you about. We'll wait and see. Here.
Oh, this is right at the beginning. I'm sorry.
Probably not right, but I could be wrong. I'll admit I could be wrong. Probably
might be different. At that time, he was obviously irritated.
See the bad guy here, because I couldn't quite gauge who was the heel and who was the babyface.
No, we had no heel and we had no babyface. We were both baby faces.
There's the Dutchman.
We got into an
He
argument.
chose not to come out here, but I see that he does have the guts to come out. Just have a seat, Dutch.
Now, let me say one thing. I'm not afraid of
You
you.
wear a mohair
And I am a
sweater.
man. Now, what do you want with me?
All I want you to do is sit down in that chair right there and watch this film with me and about 350,000 other people and explain to me why you did what you did. Can you do
You
that?
want me to sit down?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay, now let's just...
So we're going to get to the video itself. So bear with me.
So he beats me and my foot was on the ropes. And he didn't see it. Then a bunch of guys run in and start beating the crap out of him.
Jimmy Hart and the First Family, and there you go. You walk off, slink away, and do not help. So,
and the reason he asked me why I didn't help him, I said, "Hell, I didn't make those enemies. Those are your enemies."
Brother. I'm gonna tell you, why should I help you? I don't see what you got to be so hot about. You got the Southern Belt. Now, I didn't contract to fight your battles. Now, I didn't make all these enemies that you made. Now, you might swerve some people into thinking you're a king, but you ain't swerving me, Jack, because I knew you back when.
you never called me Jack.
And you ain't swerving
Jack.
me, Dutch. No, you got it. You got it. Let me say one thing. Now, you came out here and you ran me down, and not once did you say I was a good wrestler, did he, Lance? Not once did you say I was a good wrestler. Not once
Lance
did you
is
say
great.
that I was a good competitor. You said a lot of things, a lot of insults, and a lot of accusations. Now, you may not have been listening to what I said before. I want to wrestle you for this belt, but I want to do it on my time, my term. Now, you can't psych me out.
Which of
because
those
I've been down the
matches, because
road
I know you
before.
had a
I know how to
three-match
take
series,
chances.
was that 1, 2, or 3?
But you're not psyching me out, and when it gets ready for the
Three's
time,
coming
when I
up.
feel the time is right, I'm gonna come
But see,
back
Lawler
after
wanted me
all.
to get back in the ring with him.
What's the time going to be? You're right. I didn't say you was a good wrestler. I said you're a coward, Dutch Mantell. I said you're yellow. I said you're
That
chicken to get in
bastard.
the ring with me. I'm
Okay,
giving you
Lawler.
a shot at this belt, and you
Okay.
won't take it. You know why? You know why you won't take it? The same reason you showed on that film. You didn't want to jump in there and help me because you were afraid those guys would kick your butt. And
I'm
you're
gonna say one
afraid
more
I'll
thing.
kick your butt. That's why you won't get in the ring with me
I'm gonna
now.
say
You
one
know
more
it.
thing.
That's
Let me
true.
say one more thing. I said I wanted to be a friend of yours. Win, lose,
I
or
don't
draw.
need friends
But you
like
made
you.
that impossible. Not me, Lawler. You made it impossible. Not me, Jack. And I'm not going to sit out here in front of 350,000 people and let you run me
So
down.
you're not going to wrestle me because you're a coward. Why don't
No,
you
I'll
just
tell
say
you what
that?
I'll do. Hey, I'm not
All
going to
you
sit out here and
gotta
listen
do
to
is
it.
say you're a
I'm not going
coward.
to sit out here and listen to it. You can
All
talk
you
all
got to
want
do is
to.
say you're a coward.
Uh-oh, see, he did it.
That wasn't too bad of a slap. That wasn't an Andy Kaufman slap there.
There we go. Oh, he slapped Kaufman so hard. That was a pretty hard slap there, too, by the way. And this drew money, big time money. Now, you see when those people come out to help, they actually pull us apart. In WWE, they don't pull the guys apart. They just say, hey, get back, get back, get back. And when we did go together, it was another sellout.
How come it ended so quickly then? So it was only 3-match card, and
I
3-match
know,
series, and then done.
and I brought. Well, I'll tell you why we ended it, because this was right before the Andy Kaufman angle.
Really?
Right before, and the Kaufman angle did great. So when it came in, we let that we closed it down, and we went back to it a year or two later, but it wasn't the same.
So it just something else came up, and then that was it, basically. Then,
Yeah, I think Andy was sending in his videotapes, and I was wondering where it was going to. See, I was as big a fan for Andy Kaufman as the fans were, because I deliberately did not want to know what they were going to do. Because it's fun to sit, and I've never done this in wrestling, But I've sit back. Well, I did in WWE, but I wasn't really as invested in their angles as I was with Andy Kaufman and Lawler. I deliberately went out of my way to not know the finish because I wanted to look at it as a fan would look at it, and I was highly, highly entertained. And when we finally did Tales from the Territories for Vice TV, I thought they had a set finish for it, and I found out that they didn't even have the finish. Lawler told him, he said, let's just go and play it by ear. You know, when Lawler gave him the suplex back and he laid there and he wouldn't get up,
Mm-hmm.
and he called the ambulance, Andy made that up on the spot. And they got a little mad at him because we're not going to pay another $250 for an ambulance to make a call out here to pick you up. And he told Calhoun, the referee, tell Jerry I'll pay for it. But that's what made the angle. Then when they carted him out, and he had so much heat, the people were on the second tier. They were still throwing stuff down on him while he laid on the gurney. And there's an old picture of Jim Cornette before he got into wrestling, was right there with Andy, you know, had his camera around his neck and taking pictures.
I think on the wrestling bit, he was, that we just saw on that video as well. I think Jim Cornette was at the ringside there as well.
Maybe, because he was a big fan for it too. So Andy, and I think Andy died like a year after this. And I think he had such a desire to be a wrestler because he was even doing it on his TV show, like it was Saturday Night Main Event or Saturday Night Live. He'd be a guest comedian, and he wasn't funny, but he would go out there and he would do it, and you would think, why in the hell would they put him on this show? And then he ended up wrestling women, the intergender championship. Oh, it was hilarious. He would do it at Memphis. So, and he was over, and the people, and when the movie came out that they really, what was the name of the movie that they did about it?
Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon. And when they let that out, that it was all set up, I think it broke people's hearts. I really do. I think they wanted to go through with that, thinking that this is one thing they saw that was real in wrestling. And there was no need to. I mean, the people believed it was real then because they wanted Lawler to kill him. And I was thinking, what qualified a New York kid like Andy that weighed in maybe 160 pounds, pasty white, skinny, greasy hair, pimples on his face, that wore long johns and tennis shoes in the ring. What qualified him to be in the main event at the Memphis Coliseum? And one thing qualified him to be there. You know what it was? He had sold 11,175 tickets to fill the building up. And that's what qualified him to be in the main event. And, you know, when he would come in the dressing room, hell, it was like he was the big star. And he was just as meek, like almost like he was afraid to say something. He was a much bigger star than we could ever hope to be. But yet he came in with such reverence for wrestlers, and he would just sit back and just as meek as he could be and just as nice. But anyway, Andy Kaufman, to me, I'll have nothing but fond memories of him because he was a great, great human being. And I didn't cry when he passed away, but I did really feel bad for him because he had cancer, right?
Yeah, lung cancer. It was because he was a lifelong non-smoker, so it was curious that he got it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you perform, you know, because everyone could smoke indoors back then, so secondhand smoke could have caused it, or it could have just been a weird genetic mutation, who knows?
Yeah, that's what it was. But he was he was really a good guy. He really was.